It's February, which generally only means one thing. It's time to start the cheap bike build off. Last year, I decided it'd be a good idea to buy a frame and then start buying parts for it. And it was nearly impossible. Found it really hard finding all the bits that I needed. I ended up using really crappy bits. I wasn't that thrilled about the end result, if you like. This year, on the other hand, I found myself a full bike. Cost me £30. And this is what it looks like.
So for anybody who doesn't know, the cheap bike Buildoff was the brainchild of the mullet mechanic, Max. If you don't know who he is, I'm going to link him down below. But he came up to me and a load of other influencers last year and was like, do you want to do a cheap bike Buildoff where we build bikes on the cheap and and it was crazy fun. During the process of making our bikes, we encouraged you guys to also make a cheap bike or a bike on a budget. And then we did like a voting system, and whoever picked the best one, or the best one that was picked, won a prize. And it was loads of fun. We are doing it again this year. Follow me on Instagram, you already know this. And to be honest, Instagram is absolutely on fire with cheap bike build-offs at the moment. I feel like way more people are getting involved this year, and it was nice to hear comments like, oh look, they're doing cheap bike build-off again. I missed it last year, I'm going to do it this year. Like, people are into it. It's very, very cool. So last year's bike, I did the Diamondback. I can't remember exactly what model it was off the top of my head. It was fine, there was nothing wrong with it. It just it wasn't up to my standard. And the biggest problem I had was the fact that I started with a frame and then just kind of went from our parts bin. Some people were a little bit upset with some of the parts I did and the prices I put on stuff. So like it probably was more than the budget in real terms, but I kind of made it the budget by tweaking things. There was a few issues. Well, this year when I started looking around Facebook Marketplace and eBay to find something, the thing that I was looking for was a full bike. The best way to do anything on the budget when it comes to bikes is always get a full bike, save most of the parts, and then just tweak it with nice things, basically. On one of my many late night hunts around Facebook Marketplace, I found the GT Timberline. I can't remember exactly, I think it came from a forum. I saw a poster on there or something, but I saw the price, £30, and I was like, oh my God, I need to grab this. Turns out though, it was in Oxford, and that is quite a mission on my cargo bike to go and pick up this sort of thing. So I was like, yeah, nah, can't do that, that's fine. But I couldn't let it go, so I put it on my Instagram and said along the lines of, hey, look at this bike, is anybody in the area and wants to pick it up for me? And I was very much joking, but it turns out my new very good favourite friend, Jake, is a courier, and he was like, yeah, I could pick it up, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I was like, oh yeah, cool, ha ha ha. But he was serious, and Jake went and picked up the bike for me and then brought it to London to drop it off, which was absolutely insane. It did actually take a couple of weeks for us to actually get on the right schedule that we were both available to kind of meet in London. But I mean, I'm so grateful to Jake for doing this for me. It was a lot of, time on his hands, so I really do appreciate it. So massive shout out to Jake. But yeah, thanks to Jake, we now have the best starter that I think I've had for a long time. So this is part one of, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 videos, we'll see how it goes. But today we're just going to strip down the bike, see if there's anything stuck. I know the seat post is free, it's a little bit jam, like it's a little bit sticky, but it will come out no problem. But I haven't checked the headset yet or the BB, so we'll see what happens there. But let's strip it down, get it down to bare bones, give it a bit of a clean up, and then we'll work out where we need to go from there. Okay then, well this is kind of like an exercise of what's savable and what's trash. Nothing on this bike is trash, but some of it needs maybe a bit of repairing and not quite there, so we'll see what happens. I was looking for a quick link here to see if I could reuse the chain, but whilst I was turning it around, it's pretty toast, so we'll just get a new chain. I think that's fair. It's probably in the budget anyway. There's no way I'm keeping any cables or housing. It's so old and crappy, so we'll cut all that off. Keep that. I'm going to reuse the brakes, but the pads are pretty much down to the bottoms. I will have to order some new pads, but I know they're going to cost a fortune for what they are, I imagine. If it wasn't for the fact that the grips are a bit cooked at the end, you see this bit here is just rubbish, I'd try and clean them. There's for only one reason. The actual bar itself has GT written on it, and it would have been quite cool to keep the original grips with the original kind of bar for that part, but I think I'm going to replace the grips and probably the bar. This is a very cool bar though. I'm definitely keeping it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's cool. I'm actually going to change this bike to a 1x just because that's what I like doing. One of the main reasons is the front derailleur shifter is broken. It's missing a bolt that goes in the top, and it's all falling apart. I probably could replace the bolt quite easily, but I want to do a 1x, so I'm going to do a 1x. Here's that bolt that I was on about. That's all that's missing. Now I have a couple of handlebars that I think would look very nice on this bike, but mainly the fact that I want this to be kind of like a comfy commuter is kind of what I'm going for, just because that's what I like building. So I feel like something with a little bit of flair and maybe a bit of rise would be good. The wheels seem to be rolling quite nice. There's a bit of tread left on the tyres, and the actual braking surfaces seem okay. The only thing that isn't okay is the door disc. As you can see here, just a little tap and it just crumbles away. So that's coming off, but the wheels I think are cool. The STX derailleur I'm definitely keeping, as long as there's a bit of corrosion on some of the bits, especially the adjustment bit. What's that called? The dial, the thing you twist. You know what I'm trying to say. It's a bit corroded, so I want to see if I can service it a bit. The jockey wheels seem to be rolling reasonably well, and there's teeth still on them, so I think we can make this one work. Barrel adjuster. It's called a barrel adjuster. While taking the brakes off, I did notice the head tube was quite chunky, and I had a suspicion that it was 1/1/8, and instead of measuring it, I got Sam to use his eyes as well. I mean, I'll find out when I take it apart, but I'm just...
Yeah, it looks like a 1/8.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if, because like that's nasty.
You say such a thing.
I definitely won't have. I reckon it's ball bearings and it'll be just rotten inside.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if I could make a. I reckon I might have enough budget to put a fork on it.
Yeah.
And a headset probably. Make it even smoother, and then. But then I'd also have to put a stem on it. Oh no! Oh.
Yeah.
But it is, isn't it? That would look cooler, wouldn't it? If it had a nice, big, long steer as well, make it a bit bigger.
Really long pull stem.
I mean, how much is that? I mean,
I mean, even second hands, that's probably out of budget. Like, that's not gonna happen.
You just take it off the side, didn't you?
The rules won't allow me to do that.
You're not allowed to steal.
No. Maybe I can steal. Maybe that's what we need to find out.
Can I steal?
Can I steal? Is stealing allowed? That's the question. Because yeah, if I steal it, then yeah, that's fine, isn't it? Okay. Right, let's find out.
I stole mine.
Oh, that's wet in there.
After a lot of thinking, I've decided stealing is not allowed. Even if you are stealing stuff from your mate's bike shop, you probably shouldn't do it. But yes, I ended that clip just then with me going, ooh, it's wet in there, because the actual stem itself was kind of full of water and it was super, super crusty. But this has got to be the crustiest bike I've built for a while, and I'm having fun. And one would say maybe I was inspired by the crust. Yeah, that's a sticker pun. We have stickers inspired by the crust stickers. I've sold out most things at the moment, but we do have lots of these. Not as many as these. Quite a lot of these left, but I saved a bunch of these for this little mini series just because I knew it'd be more in themed with the crusty bike. I don't know what I'm trying to say. My point is, we have inspired by the crust stickers on the store. You can pick them up at saveoldbikes.com. Helps me out a bunch. It won't help this build out because I'm not allowed to use merch, I imagine, to fund it. I don't think that's fair. I'm just using my pocket money. Let's have a look, see how bad that stem is, shall we?
Turns out I actually wasn't quite ready to take on the stem, so I decided to move on to something else instead. So we'll swing back to that. But the actual crank itself, the pedals, I was going to take off, but as you saw there, I just couldn't get enough leverage. So I decided just to leave them on there for now because the cranks aren't going to get used for this build. I think it was my friend Colm who said that these were actually recalled by Shimano way back when, and they are still honouring it. So that is potentially for another video. I'm going to do some research into that and find out if we can try and recall these very old cranks, just for science purposes, I guess. I was definitely putting the stem off at this point, so I just needed to give it a go. But my spider senses were tingling, and I thought it was going to be stuck. And to my surprise, or not my surprise, because I knew it was going to be stuck, it was stuck. But with a good old whack, it came loose. So we are clear, I think. Not gonna lie, I can't believe my luck with this bike. Everything's coming apart. That screamed it was never going to come out in a million years. Wow. So the last thing to take out was just the headset itself, and it came off fine. I was a little bit worried that this wouldn't come off either, but it was alright. The insides, however, were pretty crusty, and the runs where the ball bearings go, like it's all pitted and disgusting. So we'll have to think about the headset quite a bit, but that was it. I cleaned the frame down, and that is our naked bike ready to be built up.
Now, I mentioned then about the runs. I don't know what I'm on about. Like, you know, inside the actual cup itself, where the ball bearings have been, it's all pitted. So when I was turning the fork whilst it was still together, it was kind of like dudunk, dudunk, dudunk. It felt like it had index steering. It was not good. The problem I have is the fact that this is a 1/1/8 headset, which I don't have knocking about, that's for sure. And I haven't found one that's not too expensive at the moment. So I need to think about the budget and work out basically the best go here. I'm tempted to just fill it with grease, clean it all out, fill it with grease, and just see how it runs. It was dry pretty much, and that partly is why it's all kind of getting all pitted and all a bit crappy, with a bunch of grease in there. Maybe it'll be okay. So it's worth a try. But I do want to get your opinion on something. So me and some of the other influencers have a little group chat that we've been talking about the challenge and helping set the rules and things like that. And I did ask the guys in there how they thought, or if it was within the rules, to potentially get Sam to extend the steerer on the fork that this bike came with. If I use scrap parts and then maybe did him some favors to kind of pay for the labour, would that count within the budget, or can I kind of sway that down to, like, you know, a few quid instead of like quite a lot of money? So I asked, they basically said, yeah, it's probably fair game, but I want to ask you guys what your opinion is within the you know, the honesty of the rules and kind of like how much things cost. If I'm paying for any materials that are used in the process and I do Sam some favors, can I extend my steerer on this bike? Is that within the you know, the challenge? Does that work? Let me know in the comments below. It's up to you guys. Basically, you decide. Do we extend the steerer, put a normal headset on there, which I've definitely got knocking around, or do I try and find a threaded headset and we keep it like that? But for now, that's it. I have started cleaning the frame up a little bit more. I did put a bit of T-cut on there and some rust converter, which we'll talk about a bit more in the next video. But the next video is going to be essentially going through all the parts, getting everything together, ready for the build, and talking a bit more about budget and stuff like that. If you do want to partake with the challenge, all the rules are down in the description below, and if you have already started participating with that challenge itself, well done, good luck, hope you're enjoying it. Do tag me and the Mullet Mechanic and some of the other guys on Instagram, but we are also using the hashtag cheapbikebuildoff 2025, so use that and we'll probably see it. But I think that's that. If you are new to the channel from this video, hello and welcome. We do lots of things with old retro bikes, but also some nice shiny polished bikes every now and again as well. So if you're into cycling and bikes and things like that, you have found the right place. This button here actually is to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a bunch and I post videos every single week. And if you can't wait till the next video, that one there is a particularly good one.